on the 18th of October, if we literally put a date on it, Gemini, you know, on the 18th of October, that's the day. Hello, Gemini. Welcome to your October soul session. I am Marlo. If you are new and if you are family, holy mother, welcome back. Okay, come on, cards. My friend, if you are not familiar with what your soul sessions are, they are your spirituality as well as, personal development readings in which we look at the energies that you guys, I get the point. Man counter 4 given up for the sole purpose of giving you clarity, insight, and guidance and all that good stuff and whatnot, or whatever. So apparently there's a message for Gemini. So we're going to go ahead and hop right in, my friends. So first card out coming from September and into October, we have the 6 of Swords in the reverse. A little bit of desiring to go forward, but still being a little stuck mentally. The next card that we have is the 9 of Coins in the reverse. The first thing I heard with this is jealousy. That's interesting. Then we have the 9 of Swords. That's anxiety. We have the Hermit card. That is Virgo energy. Then we have the Wheel of Fortuna, Anansi, the Spider. This actually came up in Cancer's reading. And of course, if we were to look at the zodiac signs that go with this, that would be our fixed signs. So we're talking about Taurus, Leo, Scorpio, as well as Aquarius. After that, we have the, can y'all see it? I'm trying to get this mirroring thing down, Pat. You know, since Cancer taught me how to use my autofocus and things. We have the Death in the reverse. That is Scorpio energy. And then we have the Ace of, I'm trying to get it down. There we go. We have the Ace of Coins here. As many of you may know, in the last few months, many of us have endured and are still enduring in the aftermath of numerous natural disasters, be it hurricanes, tornadoes, wildfires, flooding, and for some, volcanoes. I myself and many in New Orleans and its surrounding areas are still rebuilding from Hurricane Ida. So I can say from experience that recovering from losses of this caliber aren't easy. However, neglecting your mental health during a time such as this is. And that's why on October 10th, for World Mental Health Day, and the entire month of October, I'm allying with BetterHelp and WKYS FM to raise awareness of mental health issues around the world. So whether you're a survivor of one of the recent disasters, just need someone to talk to, or you're ready to start your mental health journey, I've partnered with BetterHelp to assist you in making this month the month you make your mental health a priority. If you haven't heard of them, BetterHelp is an online resource in which you can find your very own friendly local neighborhood therapist, no matter where you are in the world. You sign up, and within 24 hours, they match you with a licensed therapist that's right for you. And you can talk to your counselor every week via phone or video chat, and you can even text them between sessions. So if you, my beautiful human friend, or someone you know, has been considering therapy, get started today with BetterHelp. The link to sign up is in the description box below this video. Thanks for taking the time to listen to this message. You know I love your face. Now, let's get back to your soul session. Woo! So, what it is looking like, Gemini, coming out of September and into October, it's being a tad bit stuck mentally, right? Now, when we're looking at this 9 of Coins that's coming in after this 9 of Coins in the reverse that's coming in after the 6 of Swords, the first thing that came to my mind was jealousy, which makes me want to clarify this. But the other vibe that I get with this is really speaking to a sense of self-esteem. So there's not really feeling very confident in yourself. And I feel this is the byproduct of that mental state. So it's more or less being an emotional unrest or being in a tumultuous kind of time in your life at present, right? And being so emotionally volatile, there's an inability to think clearly or to see how one can move forward, or maybe even the potential of feeling a tad bit bleak, like how can one get out of this particular situation? But the root of this is coming from the place of my Geminis, who would resonate with this at least, not feeling 100% about themselves. So there is a chance with this 9 of Coins in the reverse that it could be some comparison, which is why I probably, you know, heard that jealousy vibe. We're going to find out if that's someone outside of you guys, but it could be a sense of comparison of one feeling stuck in life. There's a desire to move forward, feeling as if there's no, you know, way to move forward at present. There's no clear pathway to move forward. But again, this would be like a mental projection kind of thing, right? That's being influenced by the unbalanced emotion that one is feeling. So we get into this headspace to where now we're beginning to compare ourselves or our life situation or circumstance to people that are around us, which in turn makes us feel worse and brings us into this Nine of Swords, which is, of course, you know, anxiety, you know, a sense of unrest, insomnia, not being able to think straight and things of the sort. The solution one would feel that they need to align with would be the Hermit, which means I need to isolate myself and get away from people in order to gain some clarity. If one were to do this in a positive sense, right, of saying that as opposed to comparing oneself to people outside of themselves or looking at other people's particular life circumstances and situations, right? If one were to approach it from that particular perspective, I feel that could lead one to move forward. But at the same time, I feel this is more or less with it falling in the center of your spread of where it is that you guys are going to be headed in the midpoint and going of October and heading into November. Because of course, this this Wheel of Fortune is speaking to the midpoint of October. The midpoint of October would be post October 10th, right? Because we're speaking like 15th and there forward. On the 10th of September is when Saturn goes direct. So that's a big wrap up of a karmic cycle for many people. So my inference for this would be is coming into the month with this Wheel of Fortune being upright. It's more or less coming into the energy this month in a position of feeling that you're at the bottom of the wheel, which goes to the Six of Swords, which is this feeling of stuckness and not really seeing how things can move forward, probably having tried multiple things. It reminds me a lot of the energy that we picked up for Leo, who was actually before you guys, but it's feeling a sense of emotional unrest and being so overwhelmed by emotions that it kind of snuffs out one's ability to think clearly. So of course, we're going to go to the without to try to get some stasis within. But I'm going to go ahead and clarify this Nine of Coins in the reverse to make sure that this is not someone outside of you guys. Well, we have faithfulness in the reversed. Interesting. Okay, so here's the dealio. There is a potential to where this could be speaking to another person outside of you guys, and it would be someone who has been disloyal to you. So it would be like a feeling of betrayal, if you will. So if we were to look at this Nine of Coins in the position of someone kind of like, and I'm hearing weird words, the word would be like usurping, you know? So this would be, hold on, I need to clarify the Six of Swords, because this is kind of a different scenario here. So if this is more or less the byproduct that Geminis would be in based on another person, right? Meaning that you guys being in the Six of Swords energy is the byproduct of something that another person has. Okay, hello. Oh, wow. We have sweetheart and we have melancholy. Interesting. So here's the deal. This is a very different scenario. We're going to go with it. So here's the thing. Shifting to the side for a bit, right? My first group of Geminis. This second scenario more or less plays out in the sense that why one is in the position of the Six of Swords coming into October from September. So there's like a sense of mental stuckness and not really knowing how to move forward is because there would be some sort of breakdown with a particular person that you were romantically interested in, or this would be a person that you were actually dating or in a relationship with. So the perspective that one would have of this particular person is more or less that, how can I say it? one would feel as if this person was their end all be all, if you will, right? So it could very well be for my second group of Geminis that this particular person that you were dealing with was someone you thought that you would potentially spend the rest of your life with or marry, right? And with there being some sense of a breakdown with this person, with this faithfulness and the reverse with this nine of coins, it's more or less this feeling of not enough or feeling not good enough, right? Comes from this particular person. Now, I feel two very different people with this, right? So it's either for some Geminis, so this is our second group of Geminis that are breaking into an additional two groups. So this would be like two A and B, right? Group A, I feel there's the potential of Gemini being a very melancholy and melancholy being a person who has a tendency to be very pessimistic. They're very sad. You know, they see the glass as half full type of deal, right? And it's either Gemini's being in this position to where much of what I said for my group one people is feeling really sad about your life, feeling kind of emotionally unstable, not feeling good enough, right? Like not really feeling that or suffering with, feelings of anxiousness, having a tendency to isolate yourself. And there being a person that Gemini is dealing with, right? So the sweetheart would be like the person who likes Gemini. It's a person who's someone you'd want to be with, but it's a Gemini who suffers a great deal with low self-esteem, depression, and like anxiousness and has a tendency to isolate themselves, right? And the energy would more or less be speaking to that this is a season that needs to be released, right? And if we say released, because as you guys know, also on October 10th, it's World Mental Health Day, and I've been suggesting to everyone and their mama to start therapy this month. So in the event that it is a Gemini person where there are feelings of depression and anxiousness and feeling trapped in life, low self-esteem, not feeling good enough, you're starting to isolate yourself away from people that you care about, because even though this person is ideal for you and they're a good person, right? It's just you find yourself getting so sad sometimes that you can't help but kind of disappear and distance yourself from other people. This Wheel of Fortune would be speaking to bringing this to your attention, you taking the all important step in order to work on these things and starting to work through these things, because with this death in the reverse, there's a lack thereof of transformation. So it's two very conflicting energies in the middle of the month. So that means with Mercury going direct, with Saturn going direct, and with Jupiter going direct, the whole purpose of this is to thrust you forward so that you get this Ace of Pentacles here and you're able to start a new, tangible, new beginning, right? Potentially with this particular person, right? And it's more or less speaking to needing to handle this in order to move forward. Otherwise, one is going to be stuck. And something I've been saying for just about every single sign this month is that there's things that were brought up to the surface in September. In October, it's pretty much like the last stretch in which it's time for us to deal with these things, because with Saturn and Jupiter going direct and Mercury going direct, it's the equivalent of spirit wiping the slate clean, right? So you have an opportunity to be energetically clear. And the only way that the past can recreate itself in the present and thus into the future is with this Six of Swords in the reverse, is if one's mind does not shift or change, right? If one is still in the same mind frame, stuck in the past, still feeling emotionally unstable because of things that have transpired in the past and can't see past those past experiences, I know that was a lot of times I said past, then even though the energy is fruitful for one to move forward, one does not fully transform and thus recreates the past into the future, right? Now, for group 2, part B, right, would be the shoe is on the other foot with this, right? So this would be not Gemini. It would be Gemini being, the person who cares about this person. And it would be your particular partner who has a tendency to be very depressed, stuck in the past, wallowing about the past, not feeling good enough, feeling like you're going to leave me. I don't think you really want to be with me. Like the first opportunity you get to leave, you'll probably leave. And this person being very, fear riddled and things of the sort. And with this Hermit, more or less how this person deals with things is they have a tendency to isolate themselves and not really talking about it. So it's almost like this person being a person who perpetually rejects other people before other people reject them. But the ending is still very much the same, right? With this particular Hermit card, this would be speaking to in the midpoint of the month. So somewhere around like the 10th through the 16th, right? That midpoint of the month, this would be the time frame in which your particular person, Gemini, or yourself, if this resonates with you in my group too, right? Is that this journey of the Hermit would be one going within themselves or doing that journey in therapy or just in your own self-reflection. The purpose of this would be to come back to center within yourself. And I'll bring up Leo because that's one of the fixed signs that's here in the Wheel of Fortune. I spoke about something very similar with them in their extended, I believe, is that the premise of their month was them coming back to the truth of who they were so they could bring what's within to the without. And I feel it's very much the same thing either for you guys, Gemini, or the person that it is that you guys are dealing with. If you're in kind of a romantic partnership kind of deal, it's about a journey going within, and it's choosing solitude over isolation, because solitude and isolation are two very different things, right? Because solitude is something that's self-imposed and temporary. It's saying, I need to get clear. I need to clear my mind. A lot of these feelings are rising up. I know that they're negative, and I need to take a step back to kind of recharge and get some clarity, right? Isolation is a self-imposed state in which we make things up in our mind about how we perceive the world, how we perceive people around us, right? Or assuming what their intentions are. And we say, bump that, screw that, no one cares about me anyway, and going off on one's own. But if you notice how this is sitting on my table, this Hermit is going this way, which would be this way on my table. And the left is always a signifier of the past for me. You know what I'm saying? So it's almost as if with these two cards, this Six of Swords in the reverse, this is a card that upright should be about positive movement forward, right? But with it being in the reverse, it's being stuck. So it's unable to move forward because the emotions are taking over, right? Now, with the Hermit falling right underneath this would be a testament of it not being solitude. This would be isolation, right? In my present, the only thing that I'm seeing is my past because of my emotions rising up because of what transpired in September, right? So these things that existed deep within me have risen to the surface, right? So I'm feeling my feels. I'm in my feels. I'm thinking about all kinds of terrible things I remember from the past that have happened and how people have betrayed me and how I can't trust people and things of the sort, So what ends up happening as a person goes into isolation because it's being triggered in some way, and now seeing the present situation as if it's the past situation. But this Wheel of Fortune is saying that it's time for the wheel to turn on that, right? If we're talking about my B people, which would be the partner, because if this is not dealt with, if it's not faced, there would be a time to where all of this energy kind of clears up, but it's this person still being stuck in the past and the potential of them missing this opportunity of this new beginning, right? Now, going back to my group 1 people with Gemini, this would just be speaking strictly to emotions that Gemini is feeling. The melancholy, and it's kind of similar to my group 1 people, but you guys just aren't in a relationship or dating someone, right? So for my group 1 Geminis, it's a solitary individual kind of thing, stuff you guys are working through this month. And it's more or less what would be top of mind for you guys would be something that you guys experienced in the past that has to deal with your self-esteem or your self-perspective or your ability to be independent, right? Being very much intricately related to being betrayed in some way, shape, form, or fashion. So there could be, feelings of like codependency you guys may have struggled with in the past, whether that's past partners or you in relationships having a pattern of codependency. But that being kind of exacerbated by the fact of feeling that people aren't truthful and people aren't loyal with you, But with the Sweetheart card being here, this more or less would be saying to me that for my single Gemini people, there's an opportunity going towards the end of October and into November for you guys to be in a new romantic partnership, like for you guys to meet the ideal partner. But why all of this would be coming up is because in order to meet the ideal partner, of course, we would want to be the ideal partner, because we can't be out here being a nickel looking for a dime. You know what I'm saying? Like my daddy says, right? So this is all about saying that there's the potential here of you guys meeting someone in the near future, right? That would be, you know, a potential, you know, marriage partner for you, someone that you would have a long-term relationship with. But these are things that one would want to deal with before getting into such of a commitment, right? Because again, and this is kind of repetitive because it was so the same for, you know, 2A and 2B, it's just the fact that this is speaking to my Geminis being stuck in the past, not being able to move past something, one's emotions having risen to the top, being overwhelmed emotionally. And the source of the issue is one having low self-esteem or just not feeling good enough, that being exacerbated by past betrayals or feeling like one doesn't have a support system. It's a lot of feelings of anxiousness, one who has insomnia, who has trouble sleeping, right? Has an inability to really just rest because of that constant state of anxiousness, or having pervasive fears and phobias of things, of trusting people, of going outside of the future. It could be a myriad of different things. But coming into this third week of October, which would be the 10th through the 16th time frame. So Saturn going direct, us going past the new moon, and coming into the time where both Mercury and Jupiter are going direct, and the Aries full moon, which is later on in the month. This time frame should be spent in self-reflection or contemplation, right? So depending on where it is that you are in your journey, this would be about you going through this process solo dolo, right? Or it would be about you finding your very own friendly local neighborhood therapist, right? Because I've said in countless readings prior to this one, that when we're dealing with things, like if this is something that you guys have been going through for some time, right? Like this is a pervasive pattern of one being consistently triggered, of feeling like you're kind of living the same cycle over and over again. The whole purpose of the month of October would be for the cycle to end once and for all, and for Geminis to get a handle on how it is that they're feeling. And I've been saying to everyone that a therapist is the cheat code, right? If you want to be able to do work like this and assure that it's going to be helpful and that it's going to work, and you can really poignantly attack these particular issues, having someone who's a guiding light on your mental health journey is imperative. So let your therapist be the cheat code. You know what I'm saying? So this is about diving deeper to come back to your inner light and your truth of self, because these things that are manifesting in the first half of the month, this is not a true reflection of who you really are, Gemini. It's like spirit did not create each and every one of us to be in a state of, you know, trigger, consistently emotional unrest, feeling like we can't move forward, feeling very bleak about our future, being depressed, not feeling good enough, right? Not trusting people, not being able to sleep. Like this is not your natural state, right? This is the byproduct or the symptoms of a deeper problem, which is typically the byproduct of things that you've been through in your life. And I feel like spirit is trying to get you guys to wrap up this cycle, because the cycle is going to wrap up regardless, right? But during this particular time, there's a very valuable lesson for us to all learn during karmic cycles. And the lesson that's intended for us, for Geminis to learn specifically, is one that's in reference to this inability to leave the past behind, because it's speaking to this death in the reverse, being that the reason why one hasn't seen a shift, why one hasn't seen a change, why it seems like one may have been repeating the same cycle over and over and over again, is because a full-on transformation has yet to happen. So even though the season may change, and the season that's changing is one in which Gemini is intended to be on top. Because like I was telling you guys about with the Wheel of Fortune, like in medieval tarot, how they had the flags on it. When the Wheel of Fortune is upright, this is like the time for you to reign. That's, the I reign flag. So it's time for Gemini to step into a position of power, right? For you to be a leader, for you to be a trailblazer, right? But in order for one to properly stand in such of a position, right, it would require for one to be coming from an authentic place within themselves. I feel a lot of this anxiousness and, these fearful feelings, it's coming from an inauthentic place. So it's coming from the experiences of the false self. And for everyone collectively, the month of October is about us coming back to the authentic self, right? So with this Hermit card, this is pretty much that change agent. This is where we implement our free will. And even though the wheel is going to turn regardless of what we do, and it is ordained for you guys to, have a leg up this time, Gemini gets to choose between this Hermit and this Death in the reverse, whether or not this is going to be, another, failed transformation where one isolates, right? As opposed to solitude. It's like choosing isolation. People don't care about me. I can't trust anyone, and thus not truly transform. So it's not going through the purifying fires of transformation, right? Therefore, the phoenix cannot rise from the ashes, right? So when this particular wheel turns, because it's going to do it anyway, right? Because, of course, the Wheel of Fortune speaks to Jupiter. So if we were to put an exact date on it, this would literally be the 18th of October, right? Which would be the day that both Mercury and Jupiter go direct, right? So if we're speaking to that on the 18th of October, if we literally put a date on it, Gemini, on the 18th of October, that's the day the wheel is going to shift, right? So the energy that my Geminis would be in coming into October is I will reign. And you're having this anticipation of you being in a better situation from the 1st all the way up until the 17th. On the 18th is the day that the wheel actually turns. But if we were to look at the Hermit as the 17th, hypothetically, or see this as the 17th to the 1st, then the decision that my Geminis would be making in this first half of the month, when you kind of take this step back, it's, are you going into isolation? Are you going into solitude, right? Solitude has an end goal. Solitude goes in with a purpose and has an end goal for when they come out of solitude. Isolation is just running, right? It's, I don't like these things. I don't think this person loves me, or I don't trust these people. Stuff doesn't work out for me. I hate my life. And then it's like solitude or isolation, right? If one were to hypothetically choose isolation during this time of going within over solitude, then there isn't a transformation. So one is still in the same energy that they started this month with, which is depression, melancholy, emotional unrest, not feeling good enough, lack of trust for other people, not being able to sleep, right? So it's missing that opportunity to fully transform. So even though with this Ace of Pentacles, this opportunity is going to come, a seed is going to be given to you. If we wanted to put a date on this, child, this would literally be like the 20th, right? Which would be the full moon in Aries. So a new opportunity is given to you for you to trailblaze, for you to be the leader, to reign, to kind of hit the ground running, if you will, right? But if one's mindset still isn't different, then even though you get this opportunity, you would be sowing this seed and watering it with the same unrest. However, if one chooses to go into solitude, that turns this Six of Swords upright, right? Which means that now you're going to solid and stable ground. You're feeling confident. It transforms these energies. Even if with this Hermit, this is going to therapy and starting the process of doing so, that means you're entering this next cycle upright, which means a full transformation happens and you're able to embrace this new opportunity, right? And good energy, sow a good seed, and start working towards your 10 of Pentacles, right? Because I believe with all of the aces that the 10 exists within the ace. It's a seed, right? So of course, with Pentacles, this is going to be something that has longevity, something that's long lasting, something that's very tangible in 3D. It could be money. It could be a myriad of different things, but it's going to be something that's very tangible in the 3D realm, right? And you want to make sure that you're sowing the seed in good soil, that soil being the soil of your mind, my friends. So I really hope that that makes sense, my Gemini. I'm going to pull 2 oracles for you guys, because it feels like a bit of a mental battle, but you're in good company, Gem, because this is very similar to what a lot of the signs are going through this month. It's just all about us taking personal accountability and making a decision this month of how it is we want to chart forward. This is extremely important because we're pretty much getting into the time now with us being in October, right? We're in the last quarter of the year. Like, child, 2021 is gone, pecan, okay? So we're in this last quarter of the year, and this is funny. I was still shuffling, but as I was about to get into my spiel, Spirit told me to look at this card. It's someone who was listening to me talking, and like, as I went into the whole spiel about the quarter, your eye got caught on this particular card. So this isn't the card that I'm picking, but this is something that's for someone. So whoever it was before, I said that, like, if you looked at this after I started this whole little spiel, you know what I'm saying? Not for you, but for the person who, as soon as I stopped and did this, it caught your eye, that person, that card's for you, my friend. Merry Christmas. Spirit is reaching out through time and space for you and things. But anywho, right? But us being in the last quarter of the year, all we have left is October, November, and December, and then we're going into 2022. And 2022, oh my gosh, guys, it's a really great year. It is a 6th year. It's a year of balance, of union, right? But the whole key is all of this stuff is coming up because it's like that last stretch before we hit the finish line. A lot of people are going to experience really amazing abundance in 2022. I say, like my woke book people, y'all know I said 2020 was like a throwaway year, right? And it's almost like we went from 2019 until 2021, because 2020, I say a throwaway year, but it's really almost as if we were like outside of a timeline, like on an alternate timeline, but it was an interim time, like an incubator, where a lot of the stuff, like we talk about stuff that came up in September, in 2020, all of us had to like face our shadow. We were with our shadow every single day. How do you cope with things? How do you deal with things? What are you using as an escape? And we have all of this information coming into 2021, and we're intended to work all of this stuff out throughout the course of the year. So now we're in the last quarter of the year, 4th quarter. We have 3 months, right? This is all about us doing that last cleaning of house before we're ushered into 2022. And you want to be prepared to make sure that you're making the most of these really great energies that are coming next year. There's going to be a whole lot of marriages next year, child. Did I tell y'all that? I probably didn't. But when I tell you there's going to be so many people who are going to meet like the love of their life in 2022, and I'm just saying, I like food. I like dancing. If I can get a good old invite, to that good old wedding of yours, I would sincerely appreciate it. But it's going to be a whole bunch of like weddings and businesses flourishing in 2022. So this is all about preparing yourself for that, my friends. You know what? I was about to say, I'm going to pick 3, but apparently it got picked for me. So first card, of course, we have our person who, has surrender fear, whoever you are, go ahead and make a comment in the comments so I can give you an emoji hug. You know what I'm saying? But it says, let go of the fearful stories you are telling yourself. Stay in the moment, focus on solutions, and celebrate every baby step forward. Beautiful. Next card we have is surrender to receiving support and love. I think this goes for whoever it was that I was speaking to, of the person who has a tendency to reject other people before they reject them. It's kind of getting into this anxious state and being like, oh my gosh, they're going to reject me. They're going to break up with me. They're going to ghost me. And it's like a self-protection thing where you end up isolating yourself first. I feel like that's for that person. But anywho, it says, allow the love and support of others in, rather than trying to handle everything yourself. This can take the pressure off and simultaneously nurture you. Why did I want to say mature? I was about to say and simultaneously mature you, but the word is nurture. So I don't know, somebody out there need to get a little emotional maturity. I'm throwing it out there. I'm just saying, if you out here just like having adult tantrums and things. Anywho, last card. We have surrender unhealthy relationships. I feel this is for my Gemini group 2B people, where if you're in a relationship with a person who's emotionally unstable and they're refusing to go to therapy, they're refusing to deal with their own demons and stuff like that, that ends up causing relationships to be toxic, right? Because the person cannot reciprocate. You know, they can't pour into you what it is you're pouring into them. So keep that in mind. So it says, let go of relationships that don't serve you, including unavailable or toxic people. You deserve to be treasured by others and to be surrounded by positive people. Yes, you do, Gemini. And I'm going to pull one more card for you from a good old angel deck here, my friends. Whoop, or two. Y'all just getting all kinds of good stuff today, Gemini. Okay, so the first card says child. You care deeply about children and they readily respond to your love. All children, including your own inner child, require love, affection, and attention. We can clear and open our heart and schedule so that you can give more time and energy to the children who need you. I feel this is really speaking to an inner child big time, because I talked to Leo about that, about their inner child. So if you guys have that in your chart, anywhere, you know, or if you just feel so compelled to watch the Leo reading, I spoke to them at length and they're extended about their inner child. And I feel for my Geminis, this speaks a great deal to a wounded inner child. The next card is steady progress. And it says, we acknowledge you for the progress you've made in remembering love in your daily activities. We can clearly see the contribution you're making to the world through your thoughts, feelings, and actions of love. Go ahead, Gemini. Well, that has been your wonderful soul session, my Gemini friend. I'm going over to my network. I'm going over to Vimeo and Patreon and YouTube members to do you guys extended. So if you're about that life, my friend, follow me on over there. We're going to do an overview of this month, and we're going to go week by week. And we're also going to take a sneak peek at November to get you guys prepped and primed for that. So if you're about that life, follow me on over there. But if not, I still love your freaking face, Gemini. And I will see you guys sooner than later, my friends.